Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're continuing our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. And we're going to look at a couple of different military operations today. And first and foremost, we're going to jump right over to the Afar region, where we are continuing to see a fairly aggressive activity by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. And we're also receiving some information that would indicate that the TDF could be making a move towards the Afar regional capital of Semera, and at the same time looking to cut the main A1 road or the Djibouti road from Djibouti into the former state of Ethiopia. And we're going to try and show you why that is probably, one, not a prudent strategy, and two, probably something that is in fact not occurring as we see. So first and foremost, the main area of military operations by the TDF is just to the east of Mekelle, just across the border into the Afar region, focused on one, seizing control of Abala, which was essentially seized by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. There are some operations to the south of Abala and obviously to the north of Abala as well. But the areas to the north, we're seeing Berhale and other areas to the east of Berhale being taken by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. Now, with that being said, we continue to receive some of these reports that many of the Afar regional security forces are in fact fleeing these areas after suffering several defeats in the area of both Berhali and other areas of the Afar region just across the border. Now, the problem with this supposed move on Semera and quite possibly severing the A1 or the Djibouti Ethiopian highway is really lack of infrastructure and the ability of the TDF to make its way towards Semera, and the great risks that could possibly occur if it did try to project itself out that far. So again, if we start from Semera, and when we take a look at just in terms of how a bird flies, and I'll use kilometers. So from roughly Semera and or the main Djibouti roadway, we'll go up and we'll kind of follow this road up here towards some of the more recent area of operations where we're seeing the TDF operate, and specifically near Abala. And if we go there, so click there, and we're looking at roughly, again, 220 kilometers. If you're not a kilometer person, we translate that to 137 miles from the security operation just across the Tigray-Afar regional border, specifically within the area near Abala. So again, 137 miles. Now, if this was in a different area, then obviously it would be definitely achievable. But if we look at this very closely, and we'll start with Semera, and we'll work our way towards Abala, and we'll just kind of show you just how desolate and inhospitable some of these areas in fact are. So again, there's very, very few, if any, towns. Very, very flat terrain, very inhospitable. No areas to forage and take supplies, i.e. smaller towns or even bigger towns if needed. Very sparse, no foliage at all to attempt to gain concealment if forces were attacked by drones or fixed-wing fighter aircraft. And again, even with the Abiy loyalist formations utilizing strike aircraft that don't have precision-guided capability, the ability to identify a convoy in this kind of environment is fairly easy. Again, a convoy is going to kick up dust, and you're going to identify it very quickly, and given the flat terrain, be able to attack it in the open with rather ease. And obviously, the terrain becomes a bit more hilly, and again even more inhospitable as we continue up this route. And again, it really doesn't change. As you can see, again, no towns, very little water, very challenging environment to supply a large fighting force that would be needed to quite possibly attack and seize control of Semera. So again, I wanted to show you guys that. And again, this roadway actually ends up farther up north, and it then becomes even more desolate and difficult to transverse. So again, I think some of these reports that we're hearing are very exuberant, and I believe are probably a bit misinformed in terms of a TDF operation designed, one, to sever the Djibouti road and or seize control of Semera. So again, I wanted to kind of try and put that at rest and temper expectations in terms of that sort of operation, especially seizing Semera with the main body of the operation. Again, just a few regiments of the TDF taking part in the security operation, both near Abala and Burhali, further to the north. But needless to say, it would appear that most of the objectives in terms of defeating some of these Afar security militias, regional militias, special forces militias, whatever you want to call them, in conjunction with the Eritrean military, were soundly defeated within the Afar region, especially those forces that were located near the Tigrayan border. So that was the objective, and I do not believe we're really looking at a operation towards Semera, and even furthermore, I don't think we're looking at an operation that would move towards the border of Eritrea. Again, same soup, different bowl. Very desolate environment. Very difficult to move on Eritrea from this border area if they were so inclined. And again, if they even did move to the border of Eritrea through the Afar region, what would they do then? Meaning the Tigrayan Defense Forces. So again, just really something that militarily speaking is very difficult to do, given the operational art and given the abilities of supply, or the inability to supply the TDF in the Afar region. And again, I believe this is more of a sideshow to possible more preparatory work in the eastern Tigray, the western Tigray region specifically. That operation continues, and I talked about before, would be a multi-week, multi-month operation to eventually look to evict the forces of the Amhara regional militias, the remnants of the Abiy loyalist formations. Again, nowhere near as many Abiy loyalist federal forces in western Tigray as there are regional Amharan forces and Eritrean army forces, which again are predominantly located in Hamora, right here, as you can see it on my map. What else is going on in the region? Well, I talked about the continued emboldening of the FANO, the Amhara regional paramilitary force that has risen prominent during much of the conflict. And we're now hearing reports that some members of FANO are now starting to raid jails and lockups throughout the Amhara region in order to remove some of its individuals that have been incarcerated for a variety of crimes that were committed during some of the fighting that took place when the TDF launched its operation into the Amharan region. And when that was occurring, some of these FANO paramilitary militia units took it upon itself to really kind of act in more of a criminal mindset as opposed to a military mindset. And in fact, some of those forces were eventually caught and incarcerated by Amhara regional forces and specifically federal police forces of the Abiy loyalist formations. And that has caused, again, a fracture between FANO and some of these federal forces, in which we are now seeing FANO really kind of operate against its own kin, if you want to say, in the Amhara region, by going after some of these jails and lockups and police stations to free some of those individuals that had been arrested after committing a crime such as looting and taking things that simply do not belong to them. Now, with that being said, the NISS has expressed deep concern over the rise and growth of some of these FANO paramilitary forces and other paramilitary forces that indeed operate in the Amharan region. Furthermore, we're also seeing some of these forces being deployed in the Oromia region as well, as the B loyalist formations and other forces try to contend with the Oromo Liberation Army. And it would appear that those forces appear to be, at least on the surface, be giving more of a free hand and operating against the Oromo population as opposed to some of their nefarious activity in the Amharan region. So again, what would get a FANO unit locked up in the Amhara region for looting may not get them locked up for operations in the Oromia region as well. So those are the two major updates we wanted to talk about today. Again, we're watching these very closely, and we're trying to get as much intel as we can out of what is actually occurring in the Afar region. Again, I do understand there has been reports that at least one report indicated that the TDF was within roughly 20 miles from Semera. Again, I would temper those expectations in terms of an operation to sever the main Djibouti highway, the A1, and or seizing control of Semera. Very, very difficult operation. Not impossible, but again, very difficult to both conduct said operation and then to maintain forces in Semera if they were able to, in fact, seize control of Semera in that area. But again, we'll continue to watch and report. Have a good day, everybody.